It's time for another Cat and Sam story.
Hi everyone! Okay. It's Sammy again. Okay. So, the story we're actually going to be reading today is an original. My mom actually wrote this when she was, I think, 14, just about our age. 15, sorry. Around our age, pretty close. She's 14, I'm 13, soon to be 14 in August.
15 in October.
Okay.
Read the story.
Written by Terry M. Shea. Akron, Ohio. Is it dead? Asked Kelly. I don't know, but it's not moving, is it? I asked. We were staring down at what appeared to be a dead animal. Come on, we need to find a phone or something that will help us get out of this mess, I said, shining up the beam of our flashlight in front of us. But the only thing I could see in front of me was a dark and desolate road. Sorry, guys.
That's right.
Okay. See, this all started when my friend and I decided to go out for a drive and talk about all the good times and guys we liked. I guess we got too caught up in the conversation that I forgot to keep my eye on the fuel gauge, and now I'm paying for it by run out of gas. This wasn't the only problem we had tracing. We had to get home before our parents noticed we were gone.
Suddenly, after walking for what seemed like hours, we spotted a small light coming through the darkness. I started to walk faster and noticed the closer we got, a house was taking shape in the dark. In the front window of the house was a dim light, showed through sheer curtains. There, I said, pointing to the house. The lights are on, so someone must be home, I said, walking toward the rather large house. Oh no, I'm not going in there. That's Miss Colby's house, Kelly said as she began to back away from the house. Oh, Kelly, you don't mean you believe in all that crap you hear about her? I mean, come on. I stopped believing in ghosts when I stopped believing in fairy tales, I said, grabbing Kelly by the hand and walking toward the house. Of course I don't. I was just seeing if you did, Kelly said, following me.
We walked up to the old and dirty house. From the looks of it outside, could pass as a haunted house. The grass was so tall, and it was easy to guess to say no one had mowed the lawn in months. The house wasn't winning any awards either. The color of the house was gray, and paint was chipped in places, while in other places the paint appeared to be faded and runny, as if the paint were trying to run away from the house. The shutters were old and rotted, and even some had fallen off by the windows. The windows were dirty, and it would surprise me if you could even see out of them, let alone looking in them. Not to mention the smell that surrounded the house. It smelled as if someone had died in there 10 times over. I found myself hating to near the place, but we needed help, like it or not. Just as we got up to the door, a bolt of lightning streaked across the black sky and illuminated the house in all the gruesome glory. Oh, wonderful! There's nothing like a little thunder and lightning to set the spooky mood, I said with a frown on my face, and my heart thumped in my chest. No shit. Whatever happened to the closer and the dark night? Whatever happened to a clear and dry night, promised to us by the weatherman this morning, Kelly said, as she looked up at the night sky.
We stepped up to the front door. And knocked several times, but there was no answer. The door was already slightly ajar, so I slowly pushed the door open. I slowly walked into the house, Kelly following at my heels, her eyes as wide as a cat's eyes, as if it was left in a room full of dogs. Hello, I'm sorry to bother you. I just wanted to use your phone, please, I said, looking around, and noticed the furniture was old and spots of the fabric were worn away or torn. The dust was inches thick, and it was pretty clear that no one's cleaned this place for years. It almost looked as as no one even lived here, but there was a light on, so someone had to be home. Just then, an old lady stepped out from behind the door. "What do you want?" she said in a high-pitched voice. She was old and frail-looking. Her white skin looked as though it had been molded right to her skeleton. I could see every bone in her ghostly body. "Well, miss, we seem to have gotten ourselves in a spot of trouble. See, our car ran out of gas, and I was hoping I could use your phone so I could call my boyfriend and he'd come pick us up," I said, still shaken by her appearance. "Well, go right ahead. The phone is in the kitchen," she said, pointing her white bony finger.
I turned in the direction she pointed and cautiously walked into the kitchen. The phone was hanging on an old dingy wall. The phone was so dusty that I could hardly even read the numbers. I wondered if perhaps the damn thing even worked. Nevertheless, I picked up the receiver and got a dial tone. "Thank God," I whispered. I dialed Jack's number and prayed he was home so he could just get us out of this mess. "Hello? Hey, Jack, it's me, Sam. I need your help." "Oh, great. What the hell did you get yourself into now?" he said with a bit of sarcasm in his voice. I told him everything that happened, and he said he'd be right over. I hung up the receiver and walked back into the living room. "Thank you for—" I stopped in my tracks and looked around. There was no one around at all. "Kelly? Miss Colby?" I called out. There was no answer from either one. "Kelly, answer me. This isn't funny." I yelled a little louder this time. There was no answer, just dead silence. I started my way around the house, hoping to find Kelly or Miss Colby. To tell you the truth, I just wanted to run into Kelly before I ran into Miss Colby. I have to admit, that lady gave me the creeps in a big way. The more I looked through, the less I found. "Kelly, if you're here, then please answer me." I started my way up an old, creepy staircase. I could hear a weird sound. It almost sounded like a branch on a tree being broken in half. I made my way up to the top of the steps and turned around in my direction of the sound. I walked slowly down a musky hallway. The noise was getting louder now. I walked up to the big rotted door and listened. The noise was right on the other side of the door. I rested my hand on the door and gave it a little push. The door slowly opened, and in front of me was Kelly, her lifeless body on the floor. Kneeling on the floor right next to her was Miss Colby. She snapped Kelly's hand clean and was now making a tasty meal for herself.
My eyes grew wide with horror, and my mouth opened just as wide. As somewhere deep in the pit of my stomach, I managed to cough up a scream. The old lady looked at me. Blood dripped from her lips, and raw flesh hung from her yellow fang-like teeth. I turned around and ran down the hall to the stairs. I never turned around. I knew she was right on my heels. I started my way down the steps and fell the rest of the way. When I tried to stand up at the bottom of the steps, I felt a sharp, piercing pain in my foot. I turned around and I could see her coming after me. I ignored the pain and ran like a lightning toward the door. It was hard to see through the hot tears that filled my eyes. I grabbed the doorknob, and yanking the door open, I ran like I never ran before. I ran all the way to the car, opened the driver's door, and jumped in the seat. I turned and locked all the doors. I could see her coming toward me. It looked almost as if she were floating in midair.
I closed my eyes as tight as I could and prayed to God she wouldn't get me. All of a sudden, a bright light illumined me and the whole inside of my car. I opened my eyes and saw the headlights of Jack's car. I unlocked my door and ran into his arms. I was screaming and looking around for the old lady. Jack put me in his car and took off for help. But just then, his car shut down and came to a complete stop. I looked down at his fuel gauge and saw he was out of gas too. But how could it be? It's impossible.
That was a good story, wasn't it?
Yep, my mom actually wrote that. You know, the one from the dancing video?
You are
that
the
was actually
dancing queen.
Okay. Okay. Well, actually, that's about it for now. We should have more stories up later, guys. And thank you for watching.
Yep. Comment and rate, yo.
Yep. Mwah. Love ya. Oh, wait, don't forget to say goodbye to Bob.
Say bye, Bob. We all love you. Yes, it is scary, Bob. Yes, it is. Rah! He's all in the face. Like,
Yes.
Just.
Bye, guys. Love ya.
Bye.